Good afternoon to one and all. It's my pleasure to introduce Ananta Datta, alumnus of our first founder batch of School of Architecture and Design. After graduating from the first batch of architecture in Manipal University, Jaipur, Ananta went on to do her master's degree in Heritage Design, Planning and Management from Srishti Institute of Design, Bangalore. In the process, she built a diverse profile. During her student life, she wrote articles about architecture for Zingi Homes. Her solo research under the UNESCO Chair for Culture, Habitat and Sustainable Development, along with Sahapedia on a cultural mapping of Gulbarga, was selected to be presented at the International Conference of Heritage Management and Practice at Ahmedabad University. After her master's, she worked as a travel content writer at Holidify to understand content marketing for a few months. Now she has joined Epistel Communications as an architectural design manager. She feels the need for bridging the gap between design and practice through design writing and branding and wants to contribute in understanding of architecture in its true essence. I request Ananta to start her presentation. Over to Ananta.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the introduction. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. I'll just share my screen from now. So this is something very personal to me, personal branding for architects and designers. So this is something that I love saying. I am the first student of the first batch of Manipal University, Jaipur, BR 2012 to 2017. So this is a bit about myself. The blue part is what I ended up doing and the pink part is what I was interested in along the way. This is how I discovered myself. So this is the journey map of how I started branding myself. So I started with architecture, then I went on to do heritage management. Then I thought I'll continue with research, but I ended up doing travel writing, architectural journalism, and digital marketing, kind of because I was interested in writing, books, travel, art, history, anthropology, and photography. So I was, in short, a very confused person. And I figured out along the way, I'm still learning. So this is a confession. I am not a pro, but I am an extremely curious person. And then I thought that learning is sharing is sharing is caring. And so that's why I am here to present my learnings to you. Let's see how the journey has been so far. So I'll be sharing 3 very relevant stories of brand building, very relevant to us because we all are designers and all are creative people, I'm assuming. So first story is of Airbnb. So two students of Rhode Island School of Design started renting out their apartment, kind of subletting it and providing bed and breakfast. Then they branded it as Air Bed and Breakfast and shortened it to Airbnb, and the rest is history. Airbnb is everywhere. Every traveler books through Airbnb, and the systems design is something that is very much studied about and very relevant in today's times for us millennials. Second case study is Revati Kamath, and she's synonymous with mud architecture. We think of mud architecture, we think of Revati Kamath. We think of Revati Kamath, we think of mud architecture. I'm putting it out here because sadly we have lost her recently. Third brand, again very synonymous with us millennials, is Chumbak. Do you know that how Chumbak had been started? They started making literally chumbaks, magnets, India themed magnets, which people could send as souvenirs from India. Now it's a major lifestyle brand, and this owl, very quirky owl designed by Chumbak, is a very synonymous icon for its brand. So we think of this owl, we think of Chumbak. So this is how brand is built over the years. And then creating your brand. So these are the questions where you might need to brainstorm a bit. So, but these are the questions that you would need to answer right now, and your brand is going to develop over the years, and these answers will change along the time. So the questions are, Who are you and what do you believe in? What does your brand stand for? What is your why? I think this is the most relevant question. Why do you want to build that brand for yourself? Why do you actually need it? Why can't you be your brand? You can also be your brand. Call the brand by your own name. Why not? And then who is your brand for? Whom are you targeting it to? Is it for millennials? Is it for old people? Is it for your parents' generation? Is it for children? Then your brand value changes along the way. Then how will you go about it? So let's see how you will go about it, how you can go about it. You need to put it out, and thanks to the internet, we have many means. The first being social media. LinkedIn is one such platform which has become like the official stalking platform, very funnily though. And here you can find the professional profiles of everyone, and you can randomly, you should randomly start messaging people you want to work with. Say hi, I like your profile. Say it would be great to collaborate. Say that, I worked for this and this person and I might be able to contribute more to what you have been doing so far. So it is going to, some people are going to reply and maybe you will get your leads here. Then is Instagram. Instagram is a visual platform. Instagram is where you can put visuals of your works and maybe write less content, and maybe you can use it as a blog. You want to add details to your architectural design or product design or any creative artwork that you want to showcase, then you can. But again, it's a more visual platform, and it works on a more it works on only on eye-catching value. Facebook is where you can write your blogs. Facebook is where you can write more and maybe present more visuals. But again, Facebook has a lot of different kinds of audience. It has your parents' generation, which is why Facebook is kind of even unsafe these days, maybe. And then there is a market on WhatsApp. So how you want to explore WhatsApp is like you can make your catalog, you can make a PDF of your portfolio and circulate in groups. If you're a creative person, if you make some handicrafts, if you want to make some artworks, you can simply make a catalog and start sending it to groups. Don't spam, but start sending it to groups. You might get noticed. YouTube. YouTube is the place where you can share all your walkthroughs, maybe all your site visits, whatever you believe in. Maybe you can make a presentation and record, like my presentation is also being recorded right now, and put it on YouTube. Until and unless you want to become a YouTuber with many followers, I think it's a very good sharing platform, and you get an easily shareable link, which can go in your Instagram, it can go in your Facebook, it can go in your LinkedIn, it can go anywhere. Then, okay, this might be a bit difficult for some people who might not have thought that it is also possible. But have you considered putting things on your blog, designing your own blog? WordPress and Wix are very easy tools where you can get a format designed by WordPress or Wix. There are free versions, there are pro versions, and you can start showcasing whatever you feel like in whatever way you want. And this can be your branded blog. So please don't get shy. You may not need to become a pro at whatever you're doing to start somewhere. So then portfolio, resume, and cover letter. I think this is something even I learned along the way. When I made my first portfolio, it was criticized like anything, so I learned along the way. These are the platforms where you can make your portfolio. Isu is where you can simply upload your PDF, the PDF that you have made on InDesign or Photoshop or even MS PowerPoint can be uploaded directly on Isu. Behance is where you get templates, ready-made templates where you can put anything, your travel pictures, your photography, your artworks, your presentations that you have made, your thesis, anything can be presented in a template. Why I like Behance and why I also have my portfolio on Behance is again for the shareable link. Whenever I write a cover letter to a company I want to work for, I just send my Behance link. I don't have to upload a very heavy portfolio in that mail. Then again, Wix. Wix also has the same template format which can be utilized well. Then again, for resume and cover letter, Canva is a very important tool for, it has many templates even for social media sharing, and guess what? It has a template for building a resume as well. So all creative people, I want to share this little secret. You don't really have to open Illustrator or Photoshop for any design, and definitely not for your resume. Until and unless you're a proper graphic designer and illustrator, you need not open Photoshop. You can download the template from Canva and the work is quicker. And MS Word and Grammarly are two very simple tools if you struggle with writing. If you feel that your grammar is not that good, check it on Grammarly. If you feel that your spelling mistakes are not fine, just write it down on MS Word once. You'll get the red underline thing and you can correct your spellings. Otherwise, it's okay to take help. Even I have been helping my friends. So even I have been freelancing with architectural journalism. So these are the two tools I have been using. And of course, I figured out that I write fine. So that's why I chose to get into architectural journalism along the way. Then website and online presence. So just like this kid, it's very important to get your website updated. All practicing architects and all future practicing architects, please make sure that your website is updated, and so that people can know what you've been up to for this long, what you've been doing, whatever work you've been doing. At least people should know what you are doing, right? So where you can showcase is your own website. Then good news for all practicing architects, you can actually post your designs and write about it on ArchDaily, Arkello, and Architizer. If you didn't know, please note it down. It's very helpful. And if your project is searched, then ArchDaily is going to be on the front page and your name is going to be on the front page whenever you do a Google search. Then thinking tools, this I would like to share because I mean, so many tools that I have been sharing might have left you quite confused. So this is a tool that helped me think about my brand, and this is what I have been working along the way. No, this is not made by me. This is a mind mapping tool which I took from artistfund.com. And you can actually make any kind of systems map, the way you're thinking, the way your work has been progressing, what you like, what you don't like. And the way it is saying, don't take anything too seriously, relax, enjoy everything. Please, it's not a very, I mean, it is your career, it is very serious, but don't take it too personally. And there are going to be criticisms, there are going to be phases where you get stuck. But I think this is one tool that has personally helped me so much. So after making a mind map of whatever I've been thinking, I got my way out. So this is something I really wanted to share. Second tool, trial and error, because otherwise you don't know what works and what doesn't. If you don't try and get something wrong, you have to make mistake in order to learn that you are making a mistake. So then I would like to end this very short presentation by saying leaders should be visible, accessible, and approachable, and never stop learning. Because if you don't approach someone whose work you like, if you don't look up to someone, if you look up to someone, then you should actually go and ask questions. Otherwise, no one might notice your work. You may be the best designer in the world, but you have to portray it to the people that they notice you. So again, be approachable. So please talk, keep learning, keep growing, rise and shine. Thank you.
Ananta.
Yeah.
Thank you for such a wonderful presentation. And
thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I would just like to ask you one question. That
yes.
Now you are an architect of new generation, right? So what do you feel that for branding and visibility on social media, how much of percentage it will help you for branding for social media platforms?
So social media is where people do their random searches. They spend a lot of time on social media. So, I mean, it's always good to present. I mean, it's always good to take social media with that pinch of salt. I mean, use it for the right thing and maybe concentrate more on how to, express yourself through social media more than maybe listen to all the noise that is coming through social media, because it can get very toxic as well. So if you're presenting your work on social media, it's always a good idea, because at the end everyone might be able to stalk you and see what you have been up to and what you've been doing. So sharing your work is a good idea there.
Okay. And when this thought of architectural branding came to your mind while having your journey from first year of architecture till date?
Mom, it happened along the way because I got confused along the way a lot of times. So then this entire journey of mind mapping as to where I can present myself the best. I might not be good at something like 3D or working drawing, but I'm very good at research. Let's present that. Let's put that in my portfolio. Then that's how I created a brand. I'm still learning. I haven't created a brand successfully. I mean, I'm not Airbnb or Chumbak or Revati Kamath as of now, but I think I'm getting there. I've made my journey. So that's what I wanted to showcase here.
Yeah, definitely you will be getting there and you will be like a Revati Kamath and others successful architects. But can you throw some light on mind mapping in detail? Because
Yes.
you showed us the what you say diagram, but can you
Yeah.
detail about the mind mapping? By
Shall
taking your slide,
present
you can
it
show it the
again?
slide again. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll share my first slide of journey map here. So I started with architecture, top left corner. Then I went on to study heritage management. Then I thought I'll go for research because that's what I was interested in and that's what I thought I'll do very well. Then I ended up doing all this again, travel writing, architectural journalism. That's why I have a bold arrow there. And this arrow is dotted towards research because I'm getting there. I haven't joined any PhD or haven't enrolled myself in any as a research associate anywhere. So this is the cloud is what I ended up doing: travel writing, architectural journalism, and digital marketing. Then the pink parts and why I have connected it to everything is just to showcase how it's all related to what I have been doing and what is at the back of my mind. And that's how I made these choices of architecture and heritage management and research. So I was always interested in writing, so that's how the arrow is connected towards architecture, because I did architectural writing. I did a lot of writing in heritage management because I wrote good research papers there. Then books. I read a lot of books on documentation and history along the way. I used to read those architectural books and heritage management books a lot at that time. Then travel, because no one can deny all architects love traveling. I used to love visiting heritage places, historical places, take pictures, read about them. So I made sure that it falls on my mind map over there. Also, then photography, again, taking pictures of wherever I went to travel. Art, because art is where architecture starts. You have to make a good sketch of whatever you are going to design before actually making the final draft. So art was something that I was maybe initially interested in, and that's what made me pursue architecture. History, it was my favorite subject in architecture. History of architecture, I think, was one subject where I always scored more than and grade A. Anthropology is something that I was interested. I recently figured out that I'm interested in. My inspiration was this book by Yuval Noah Harari called Sapiens, and I figured out that that is also related to heritage management. So I just ended up drawing connections, and that's how I thought I'll fit in. So this is how my mind mapping journey started. Okay. Ma'am, you're not
Yeah, I
audible.
was just asking about that slide which you have shown in your presentation about the mind mapping.
Okay, that one.
Yeah, that slide. Can you explain?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this one. Can you zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Wait. Yeah, I think this is the maximum resolution.
Yeah, you can explain, no worry.
Okay, so this is someone who has talked about their goals and how to meet those goals. So that is like the focal point, things that I want to accomplish, goals, and how will I do it. Then embracing the unknown, that's what we've been doing. It connects to embracing the unknown. Then it connects to personal life, it connects to work, then it connects to doing something in your spare time as to enjoying everything. Then embracing the unknown connects to don't take everything so seriously. So there is no actually rule in making a mind map. You can make your system the way you want to, as long as it fits into your perception and your way of thinking. And if it's like a thinking tool, whatever you're thinking, if you're connecting it with something and you're writing it down, it kind of slows you down and you kind of can concentrate on the process. And when you concentrate on the process, you figure out many things about yourself that you might not have thought about. So that's how this mind mapping tool becomes very important.
And what message you would like to give to the students of architecture or design for branding? How they should start their journey throughout these years, like 4-year course or
Because
5 years?
it's very uncertain these days and everyone is struggling these days. So I would like to say that whatever you're learning in your 5 years of architecture, please take it in. Don't start judging yourself that soon that no, this is not at all, suiting me. This is what I'm not interested in at all. Maybe you will start liking it later in life. For example, I was a science student. I never thought humanities can be my subject. It was only in the 5 years of architecture that I realized that history of architecture can be my favorite subject. So I just took the information in, processed it, maybe made mind maps or maybe did some overthinking then because I didn't know what mind maps were. And that's how I figured myself out. So these 5 years are only for learning.
Okay. Akshay, are there any questions from the participants?
Yeah, we have some questions. Some I think one question we have. Can you please explain the students, like many people are going to be out for training in the next few semesters. So there is training portfolio, there is job portfolio. Okay, and how they both are different from each other. So can you please put a little bit focus upon that?
So training portfolio, of course, depends on where you're applying it for. If you're okay, this is one mistake that I have made. When I had written my cover letter, I had written one cover letter and forwarded it to 15 different companies. Please don't do that. You have to research about the company. You have to research about what they actually do and what you can offer, and maybe make bullet points in the cover letter that, I am good at this. I like your company, this. I can contribute in this way. Very particular bullet points, and then make the cover letter and then send, because cover letter is something that they will definitely read. And to be very honest, for training portfolio, all trainees have the similar kind of portfolio. They might not judge you based on that. Maybe some working drawing and Photoshop skills and details of toilet layouts and all is going to be very yes, it's going to work wonders in your portfolio. And put high resolution images. Please don't put blurred images. It doesn't look good in your portfolio. And for jobs, of course, you can highlight what you've been doing in your training and how you have progressed. And everyone wants to see the process in which you have gone through, so that before applying for a job, they might know that, this is the particular candidate we are looking for. This person has received this training from this office, which has been working on maybe mud architecture, bamboo architecture, or maybe a particular boutique interior design office would be more preferred if you're the person is applying for an interior design office. So that has to be showcased very clearly with good visuals, and also your role in that project. Please mention that, because it's not expected that you've been handling the entire project by yourself. If you are doing that, then you're great then. But if you're not doing that, please mention that, I was helping in taking the measure drawings. I was helping in taking the choosing the colors for the interior projects. I was helping in taking the visuals. I was helping in doing the documentation, working drawings, toilet layouts. Please mention that.
Okay. That's a very good answer to this thing. Okay, we have one more question that is about what are the mistakes or lessons you have learned when you started working as a trainee or as a job person, right? As a professional.
Yeah. Okay.
So
First mistake was I was a pushover. I used to feel very underconfident about myself. People used to say things to me, and I used to believe that I am not good. So this thing should not be there. Please start valuing yourself and your work right from the day one. That doesn't mean you become very arrogant with your work. Please see that it's a learning process, and you will get better. Okay, I mean, even the practicing architect has been through these 5 years of rigorous training, rigorous education just to be there. So they have also gone through that. Please mention that. I mean, keep that in mind. So, and value yourself. If you are stuck somewhere, please ask for help. It's no big deal. Go to a senior person, go to some person who can train you well, ask for help, ask for guidance. So I think that would help in for a new practicing architect.
yeah, there is one more question for a new practicing architect or new professional in our field. As an architecture graduate, where all the student can find career opportunity, and that too even not in typicality of architecture. If we are talking about typical architectural offices, they are talking. So where all we have, like if we say you are doing this content writing or you are into this right, and many of the graduates from Manipal are doing something other than architecture. So what else do we have? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So architecture is just a starting point in your career. It's a wide world out there, which is a good news and the bad news at the same time, because you might feel lost. But the good news is that you will figure out, and again, just make sure what you are interested in and just contact the right kind of people. Again, LinkedIn is a very good platform for that. If you see that you're interested in architectural journalism, maybe someone who has that kind of profile on LinkedIn, don't be afraid to send a message saying that, sir, ma'am, I really like your work profile. Maybe I want to also venture into that field. Can you please guide me? That's okay. They will respond. And even if they don't, there'll be many people out there who will. So that is one thing. And how I got there was, I used to, in my summer vacations, I used to get very bored and I used to check opportunities on these various internship platforms like Internshala and all that. So that's how the intention was not to learn then. The intention was to build a very nice CV, to be very honest. But in the end, I realized that, okay, it helped me kind of. But, I kind of miss those times because I had got a lot of time to take a chill pill, which I did not.
Okay, that's very cool answer. I would ask ma'am that we are so
there are questions, Akshay?
No, they ended like
Okay. Thank you, Ananta, very much for such a wonderful presentation. And it was very informative.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, and hope to keep in touch with your alma mater. So this is the first starting, and then you are the first one to start your presentation in our alumni talk series. And I wish that we'll be connected in future also, and you should keep us updating. And best wishes for your future.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, sir.